Hello, welcome back to JR Oil Paintings 101. As you can see here, I got a little oddball canvas here. Kind of almost looks like a tombstone. We're going to do some smaller paintings, I think, this week. Just to show you that size of the canvas really doesn't matter. This technique works on just about any size canvas. But we're going to try this one. I want to run through the colors that I'm going to be using. The Blues Brothers, Phthalo and Prussian Blue, the Greenies, Sap Green and Phthalo Green, uh, Van Dyke Brown and Burnt Sienna, Black, Alizarin Crimson and Red, Cadmium Yellow, Yellow Ochre, and Indian Yellow, and Titanium White. My name is Jeff Robinson, by the way, in case you missed it. So I got the canvas all ready to go here. We got it, got the thin coated liquid white on the canvas, and I think we'll just go ahead and get started. We're gonna have a little scene today that's going to be basically what I'm going to do here. We're going to have just a very little bit of sky here. I'm not going to do any clouds on this one. There's not going to be much of the sky that's actually going to be showing through. But what I'm going to do is we'll use this round here and here and put like overhanging trees, and then we'll do some other good stuff here. So we are going to put a little bit of the sky in there because you just don't know how much of it's going to show. You never know. So I'm going to just tap in a bit of color in my brush here. We ain't gonna need a whole lot of sky, but we're gonna put in a little bit more than we probably will use. A lot of it'll get covered up. And while I'm putting in the sky here, I'm just gonna say I do appreciate everybody that's subscribed to my channel. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate everybody that's been tuning in. If you hadn't subscribed, I'd appreciate if you would. And if you don't want to, that's fine. Just hit that little subscribe button. Anyway, we're gonna put a little bit of sky here. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to have any water in this or not, so we're going to go ahead and put some in. And if I don't put it in, we'll just cover it up. If you're going to have flat water, just pull from outside in. You want it fairly level, fairly straight. Something like that. We're just going to basically cover the whole canvas up in blue. This is phthalo blue. Prussian blue is a lot darker. Beautiful color, but a little too dark for what I'm going to do here. Do something about like that. That's all we're going to do for the sky. Is just kind of blend it out just a little bit more here up top here. Just a quick little deal there. All right. And I think we're going to do a really small mountain right in here for the background. So we're going to take a little bit of Prussian blue. Let's see, some brown, Van Dyke brown, black, and just a little bit of alizarin crimson. I'm going to loosely mix these colors on the palette. I don't want them very well mixed. I like a little variety in color when you're doing your mountains here, so I just kind of loosely mix. And we're going to cut off just that, get a little bit of paint on the end of that knife. There's so little paint right there, you can barely see it, but you can see it's right on the edge of the knife. That's all we're looking for right there. Now, this ain't going to be a real big mountain. Ain't got a real big spot here, but that's all right. I'll show you. You can do this on any size canvas you want. Just basically put your little shape in there. However you think you want your mountain to look, that's what it should look like. Right? If you're just starting out painting, just start out with a real small mountain. Don't put too many peaks in there until you get a little bit of practice in there. I think that was one of my problems early on, is I put as many peaks as I could think of on a mountain. Now what we're looking for is a nice clean edge on top of that mountain. The rest of the stuff you're not really that worried about. That's all we're going to do for the mountain, is that right there. I'm going to turn this back off. I don't think we need the light, too much of a glare. And we'll take our brush that we used for the sky, wipe off some of the excess, and we're just going to try not to mess up that top edge. Just grab and pull. Just grab and pull a little bit. That's all we're going to do with it. Right there, just about like that. Yeah, I like that. Now then, we are going to be putting some highlights, low lights on this little feller. So we'll just pull out a little bit of white, just titanium white, plain titanium white. Get a little bit of paint on that edge. Now, you got to decide where your light's coming from, left or the right. Well, this is the left. This is the left. This is the right. I'm right-handed, so it usually comes from the right, but yeah, however you want to do it. Now, when you're putting snow on the mountain or highlights on your mountain, just barely hold that knife. Don't lay fingers on the blade of the knife and put too much pressure on it, and you won't get the desired effect. So just barely, and all you're doing is having that paint right there touch the mountain. The knife really is not doing any touching of the mountain. Start at the tip and just gently pull down. No pressure. No pressure at all, because you want all that breaking in that paint. That's what causes that, gives that mountain its look. And just pull straight down, or at an angle, really. A little bit of a peak over there, too. Now then, we'll get our low lights on here in just a minute. I like to put my highlights on, all of my highlights on first, and then the low lights. And I just pull it out. And we'll give it a little bit of a little bit more of a peak over there. Wherever you put these highlights on, remember you're gonna have to put low lights on the other side of it. That's what gives it the look of a finished mountain. Because if you see right there, this don't look like much yet, but it will. As soon as we put our low lights on there, we'll get there. So we're just gonna add a little bit of snow on that peak over there. Now for our low light color, we're just gonna take a little bit of titanium white and a very little bit of phthalo blue. It doesn't take much. The phthalo blue is a very strong color, and you don't want a real dark blue for your low lights here. I find that phthalo blue and white work better as the low lights than any other color, but you experiment. Everybody sees things a little different. So just get you a little roll of paint on that knife, and then we're going to start from we're going to go the other way on the angles, like that, and just hardly any pressure, no pressure at all. And you'll find when you're mixing your low light color here with phthalo blue and white, the more you mix it, a little bit thinner it does get. So you're really not going to have any pressure on this blade at all. Yeah. If you do put too much on there, if you're not got the desired effect, just go back with your mountain color, your base color, and put in some dark spots. I'll find out how to do this here. Okay, here we go. I it on the edge of my knife here because I got a spot right there I'm trying to get to. There we go. Something about like that. And then we just cut some more off. Over to this big dude over here. I like to put this guy in first. But it works on any size canvas. This does. It's just a technique I'm trying to teach you here. And hopefully you're enjoying this a little bit. We just start up here with this peak here. Come on down with it. And no paint was on the plate. Would you look at that? I tell you what. Sometimes I wonder. There we go. Use all sides of your knife. It'll get there. You'll get where you want to go. We have to do it 15 times or so, but it just takes a little bit of practice, a little bit of instruction, and a whole lot of imagination. Been asked before if I plan all these paintings out before I sit down, or do I just sit down and start painting? Well, I just sit down and start painting. I have a little bit of idea in mind before I start. Like this one, I knew I was going to use this, so I knew we was going to have some overhanging limbs. But other than that, I really don't know what we're going to do in the foreground here yet. Take you a good clean dry brush. You can either use a 2-inch brush or a 1-inch. It really doesn't matter. And it does the same effect. Now we're going to tap the same way the base of this mountain out. The same angle you put your snow on is where you're going to tap. Just tap the bottom of it. We're just trying to diffuse this bottom of the mountain here just a bit. You don't want it very distinct. I'm just going to tippy tap some of that in there. And when you get that misty area going, be right back. We're just going to get a little of that paint off there. And then just very gently, barely touch it. Lift up in the same direction you put your snow on. Just like that right there. And there we go. That's a nice little mountain started here. Kind of like that little mountain. It's cute. Okay, so now we're going to put some big overhanging limbs and stuff in here. So before we do that, let me have my little big brush here. Not brush. Keep saying that. Now this is not a brush. It is a palette knife. We're going to put a little bit of green, sap green in this of our mountain mixture here. Just going to add a little bit of sap green. We're going to loosely mix that up. I'll let you know if I'm going to really thoroughly mix a color. Like if I was going to make the brown that I do every once in a while, and I'll let you know that. I don't make that brown very often. To make brown, you take alizarin crimson and sap green. Makes no phthalo, yeah, sap green, and it makes a good little brown. People call it a Christmas brown because it's red and green. I just tap a little bit of this paint into your brush. Get you good. I'm using a 1-inch brush today because it's a little bit of a small canvas. So I'm just going to. Now, I went back and forth on my palette to get good coverage. You get a lot of paint in there, and then you push just a little bit to get a little ridge of paint in there. Now you're going to see where we're going to put. Got to put dark in before you put your highlights in. So we're just going to see where a little overhanging tree here would be, just the leaves. We're not going to have much of a, about like that, see there? Just tap them in there, just about like that. And like I say, I'm not sure exactly where this is going, so I'm going to stop that one right there. Get a little more paint on the brush. Same way, load it the same way, back and forth, and push it just a little bit. Get a little ridge of paint on there. I'm going to start up here. Just tap it in. Tap wherever you think you should have overhanging limbs. About like that right there, I think. I'm just going to keep going all the way down. About like that right there. I'm going to stop that one right there. I'm not sure exactly what's going to go in front of all this. But now you can go, we're going to add a few little tree limbs on this little feller. And by doing that, we take our script liner brush, this nice little skinny one. Get some paint thinner on your brush. And I'm going to go with the burnt sienna this time. Make a few branches and twigs on those. Not much of it'll show, but once in a while you'll have one that will. And just put a little more detail in your painting. Now I want to just, wherever you think there should be a twig, stick, or little trunk right here, I'll put part of his trunk right over there. Now you're probably not going to be able to see that, but maybe you will. I'll lighten it up just a little bit here and there. Yeah. Since you already laid your limbs out, you know where your leaves, your back part of your leaves at. You know where to put these twigs and sticks and stuff. Like I say, you probably can't see that. I'll lighten it up just a little bit. Maybe we can see those just a touch. Yeah, you're not going to be able to. It's a little too dark. But just put them in there, just wherever you want them. And they'll show up when once you put the highlights in there on these trees. And we're not going to go nuts here with these, especially since y'all can't see it. I'll put a few here and there, like that. Yeah, like that. I like that. Now then, we'll take that other 1-inch brush. I like to have a dark and a light color on my brushes. I keep the dark dark and the light light. We're going to take that other 1-inch brush. We'll call that our highlight brush. And we'll just go into a little bit of cad yellow. Yeah, a bit of cad yellow. With a little bit of liquid white in it, just to thin it up just a little bit. Then we'll take a little bit of sap green and cad yellow. Maybe just a little bit of blue to really get some green going here. We don't want this, I don't want this too light. If it gets a little too bright on you, just add a little bit of black, brown, or even red. You get a little red with your green mixture, it'll deaden it just a little bit. Won't be quite as bright. I just mix this color on the brush. That way you got a lot of interesting flavors in there. And I just mixed everything on the brush, like I say. I got cad yellow, a little bit of phthalo blue, sap green, a little bit of black. And then we're just going to tap in a little bit of liquid white as well, just to thin this out. Start out here at the tip of where your leaves are. Work your way back. It'll get a little darker back here. And that's what you're looking for. You're looking for a little bit more dark in the background of that tree, because it's a little deeper in the tree. So it's going to be a little bit darker than out there at the tips. Tips will be nice and bright. But we're just going to put a little bit of color here. Use both corners with your brush. And there we go. Something about like that. Then we'll do the other side. I'm going to leave some of this dark here because I think the base of the trees are going to be, you're going to be under shadow a lot. So you won't see a lot of color under there. We're just going to go like this. Just like we did over there. Just don't cover all your darkness up. Just keep filling it in. Change the flavor every once in a while. Maybe put a little yellow ochre into it. Just to kind of give it a little bit different flavors here and there every once in a while. But you need a lot of color on your brush to get that just right. There we go. Not like that. And we have a couple of overhanging trees, like it's back off in the distance there. Now what are we going to do here? What should we do now? Decisions. Oh, you know what we hadn't done in a while? I'm not sure. Let's see if we can do it today. We're going to put in a little waterfall here. Hadn't done that in a while. I think this would be a good spot for it too. Let's see how we're going to do this. Yeah, I think we'll do a little waterfall about right here. Except I don't like that brush because it's a little too big for my flavors. What I'm going to do here. So I'm going to go into my little bag of filbert brushes over here. You can do it with any of these brushes, but this is such a small painting. We're going to dip into the liquid white and titanium white. Now then, we're going to find out where our waterfall should live. And let's say it's going to come out right here and go, boom, boom. We're going to have to lighten that up, ain't we? Can't even see that. Let's put some, yeah, there we go. Now we can see that, can't we? Maybe. Just put a little bit of blue in there. And we'll mix it up just a little bit, maybe. Now you come along here like this and follow straight down. And we'll brighten this up in just a minute. Yeah, we'll brighten it up. We're just going to put a little bit of darkness in there so our a little bit of Prussian blue in here. We'll really darken that sucker up. A little darker than what's underneath it. Like that. Oh, there we go. Like that. There we go. Now the waterfall strokes work better if you're quick with it. I've noticed if I take my time and try and ease it down, it doesn't work as well. Now, we'll just splash it in a little bit here. I like that. I'm like that right there. I'm just putting in some dark here. It's going to come around here and just phew, phew. I like that. I'll go right off the. Look at somebody forgot to tell it to stop. There we go. About something like that. Kind of don't get it too much of an angle. If you come straight down with it, kind of looks a little strange as you saw. So just kind of phew, off to the side about like that. There we go. Something like that. There's a nice little waterfall. And you can see it up there. That's a good thing. I wasn't sure if you'd be able to see that or not. I'll clean this brush because I'm going to use it again in just a minute. I do use odorless paint thinner. Do yourself a favor and do odorless paint thinner because if you don't, you won't be even able to stand it yourself. Neither will anybody else in the house. Whew. And don't use turpentine. Turpentine will leave a film on your brush, and it will also run you out of house and home. Well, but it'll leave a film on your brush that's hard to get rid of. So don't try not to use that either. We're going to go straight liquid white. On that same brush, I cleaned it so it's just plain old liquid white with maybe just a touch of titanium white in it. The liquid white's just going to be there to thin everything out, so it'll go over on this. Now we'll just go. There we go. Putting just a little bit of color, a little bit of highlight on that brush, on that watery fall here. And just, yeah, about like that. This is going to be kind of back in the distance, so I don't want a whole lot of, what do you call it? Detail in it. I'm going to just tap a little foam in there on the bottom of it. Not like that. And then we'll call that good for right now. I know it don't look like a whole lot yet, but it might if we do it right. All right, so we got to somehow make something out of here because we've got a lot of waterfall there, but nothing's really holding it in place. We're going to put in a little dirt area here and just come straight down, or it's just some rocks areas right through here. Get it a little higher than the waterfall. If it's the same level as the water, then why would it fall? Yeah, it's got to fall off something, right? We get you some jagged little rocks and stuff over here, so. And then pull. We're going to highlight this here in just a little bit, but go down past where it hit. Because if you don't, you'll be sorry you didn't do that because it won't look quite right if I stop right there and the water falling further down. Looks a little strange. So just pull down a little bit further. Not like that. We're going to keep going until we get all this. We're just blocking in a little bit of color right now. We'll get some grassy areas and stuff over here on top of this. And some highlights and low lights and dark lights and night lights and all that stuff on here. You see one of these you want, they will be on my website, which is jroilpaintings.com. Pop over there and see if you find anything you like. I'll be updating it this week a little bit later to add a few more paintings and a couple other little things here and there. And if you see something you like, shoot me a line, buy it. If you can't quite afford what the price that I've got, shoot me an email. We might be able to work a deal out somewhere. And if you are local, if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, I'll waive the delivery charge and I'll actually deliver it and meet you somewhere and deliver it. But I can't do that all over the United States, so not yet anyway. If I ever make some money out of this, maybe so, but right now, nope. If I'm doing some of these smaller ones, won't have to charge as much for these, and the shipping won't be as bad either. Cost a lot to ship these suckers, but it's all right. We'll figure something else out one of these days. If I ever sell one of them online. I've sold a couple, but not online. So here we go. Yeah, I don't care about that. So I'll shut up about it. My brain, my brain sometimes just thinks I need to talk when I'm doing stuff. Sometimes I talk, sometimes I don't. Now there's our waterfall. It's back in the distance there a bit. So we'll put some burnt sienna. I like that burnt sienna. It makes it good. And a little bit of the brown. A little bit of titanium white right in there with it. A little bit of yellow ochre. I like the yellow ochre in my highlights when I'm hidden, making rocks and rocky type areas. And like I said, we're going to loosely mix this stuff. I want it nice and loose. I don't want it too tight. I get all those variations of colors. More variations. I don't want to do that. Okay, anyway. All right. Now that we got our highlight color mixed up here on the palette, get a little bit of it on our knife, just like we did the snow on the mountain. Same amount of paint there, just nice and little. And then you got to pick out where your highlights are going to be. Just take it and drag it slowly down. And it'll take off what it wants. Just no pressure at all on this. And we'll put some grass on top of this little fella. I don't want any pressure on your knife here. Put pressure on your knife, it'll like you're icing a cake here. And sometimes that may be what you want, but not too much on that. All right, come over here to this next eye. This next eye over here. And we'll have a little bit more white on this one, I think. As you can see, maybe. We'll just keep on adding highlights. We'll put some grass and stuff on top of these little guys here in just a minute. And I don't have to go all the way down, but there you go. I'm like that. This is going to be a little bit darker because we already said the light's coming from this way, so it's going to hit over there more than it would be over on the other side. So we're going to get a brush that had the grass color on it. I'm going to get just a little bit of liquid white, a little bit of yellow ochre with that other green color that we made, a little bit of Indian yellow, and we'll just tap it into the brush here. Get a lot of paint on there. And we'll just tap a little bit of grass on top of these little bad boys. And you got a little flat grassy area on top. Anyway, over here. Need a little bit more liquid white because it didn't want to stick on that one. More brown on it than we did the green. Kind of put a little bit of grass over there, just kind of going down that hill. Yeah, about like that. There we go, something about like that. We have a little grass on the top of our little doohickeys here. Little hills, whatnots. Now then, we'll take, if I can figure out, yeah, there you go. I'm going to take our fan brush, dip it into the liquid white, come over here to titanium white with the liquid white. Just a touch of maybe the blues, Prussian and phthalo blue just a little bit. And then we're going, this already has the little misty areas attached in there. We'll just tap it out just a bit. And then we're just going to pick up some of that color on the hill, on the little hills there, and clean up that edges where the water is going to attach itself to. And then we'll just keep adding a little bit of white to your brush. And we'll just kind of back and forth in here just a little bit. Drag some of that color out. It'll be your shadows up underneath all that. I like that. Something about it right in there. We're going to put some more land and stuff underneath up here a little bit. Maybe a tree or two or bush or two or something like that. Since we got this little brush here, it worked pretty good for the trees up there. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to add a little bit of color, a little bit more color to the brush. You want a bunch of paint on this in this brush. Now, where are we going to put a tree? What do you think? I think we should start right here. Put a little bit of bush shapes here. All the way around here, just like that. About like that. And then go up. Just pushing up just a little bit of trees. It's going to be a tree in just a minute. You don't think so? It might not, but I think it will. I think it might look like a tree when we're done with it. At least that's the plan, right? Just going to put it in a tree shape. And cover up part of that. Part of that little hill that we just made. That's all right. We know he's over yonder. We made him. And then we'll just tap out just a little bit. Right there, about like that. And maybe we'll put in just a little bit of a bush over here too. About like that, I think. Yeah, I like that. I think I like that. Okay, now we're going to go in to our little brush again. And we'll go into some of that highlight color that we made for the little hills back there. Burnt sienna, brown, white, and a little bit of yellow ochre. We'll put in some trunk, a tree trunk on this big sucker. Right there. You can tell me you can't see that. Can't see that because there's a freaking light in the way. Okay. One of these days I'll get my lighting figured out. It's either too dark or too light in here. That's right. Too bright. So we're just going to put in trunk. About like that right there. Go off over there and go off over there. A little bit of white in there so we can see it a little bit. I'll highlight his little. And we'll just put in a few. Maybe a couple down here. One or two over here, like so. Like that. Something like that. Don't have to be real perfect because you're not going to see much of that anyway. So now we'll take our other brush on with the highlights, the highlight brush. Put a little more yellow in this one. A little bit more white. Like that. And we'll just, with the corner of the brush, we'll just start tapping little grass, little shapes. I didn't want to put the same color of green on this brush as the one behind it. So it's mainly yellow, but it'll pick up some of that color and turn a little bit green. And we'll just remember how a tree looks. And try and tap in a little bit of green. A little bit of green, a little bit of leaves. That's what I'm trying to say there. It doesn't come out that way. Now we're making kind of a mess of this old tree here. You can use the round brush, the 2-inch brush, the 1-inch brush. Any of these will work just fine to make your trees, bushes, stuff like that out with. We're going to go and get a little bit of red on the brush here. Now to do some highlights on your brush or your bushes, take that. I wish they wouldn't do that when I'm filming. I need to remember to turn the do off this. Okay, there we go. How about that? You're gonna take your brush and just pull it one way through the paint, about like that. Get a lot of paint on the brush. There, and now you'll see it has kind of a rounded corner here. Put that rounded corner to the top, and we're gonna make a big old red bush right over here. And just barely touch, give it a little push. And it'll make all kinds of little bush shapes right there. Always hard to see there, but yeah. And we'll go into a bit of yellow with a little bit of the liquid white in there. Again, you got that rounded part. And just head that up to the top there. Give it a little push. Now then, just to shake it up a little bit, we'll get one of our round brushes here. Tap into a little bit of that color and a little bit more yellow to it. Just to get a different kind of bush that you're going to run through. And put a little bit here and there. Right there. I like these round brushes. They make really nice looking bushes, really easier than that 1-inch brush. The 1-inch brush works better on a little bigger scale, but it does work. And these 1-inch brushes just work beautifully on this scale, on any scale really. It just makes beautiful bushes. You just need a lot of paint on there. And there you go. And I believe, just like that, this is only a little 40-minute deal, but I believe we got her if you don't jump. So we're going to take our palette knife here. I'm going to strike in a few sticks and twigs and tree branches up here and over here, so we know what holds them leaves up. And a few little just regular sticks down there. Just a few here and there, wherever you think. Stick mainly to the dark spots in your bushes. And then you'll get all kinds of little details here. I think you work for days and days on these paintings. And it's up to you if you want to tell them different. I always just tell them it's the truth. You should see the looks on their faces when you actually hit one of these that are good, and they ask you how long it took you, and you tell them about an hour. They'll look at you like you crazy. You did that in an hour? All right, we're gonna sign this painting. I signed mine in phthalo blue with a little bit of white, a whole lot of thinner. You can use whatever color you want to sign yours. It's your painting after all, right? So we're just gonna go right down here, and I just signed my initials. I know you can't hardly see that one. Let's add a little bit of more white to it then. How about that? There was a time when I hid my signature in the bushes and stuff. I did that for about a year, and I decided not to do that anymore. I like where it can be seen now. There we go. But you can sign your whole name, you can sign just initials. However you want to sign your stuff, it's your work. You just sign it. I like that. JR. And I do put the year that I painted. I like to know when I'm back looking at these uh, years from now. When did I paint that? I painted it in 2026. There we go. And like I said before, I appreciate all of you that have tuned in, and all of you that have subscribed. And for those of you that hadn't subscribed, think about it. It's just a push of a button. Don't cost you nothing. But there's our little painting for today. See, the same technique that I use for the bigger paintings can be used for the smaller ones. This is how I actually started with the smaller paintings and then graduated up to the bigger ones. Uh, give this a try. And if you have any questions, just comment. I'll try to answer them for you. But for now, I think we'll sign off and we'll talk to you shortly.